Hello, Nick. So today I thought I'd kind of kick off I don't know if you'd call it a project. It's a very long-term project, but what I'm starting is to play the Library of the Napoleonic Battles in order. Um, so this one, War of the First Coalition, Part 1, Montenotte, is what we're going to be setting up, or what I have set up, but I thought I'd kind of go over my process. There is one battle in the series before this, which I do not have. This is you can get this off of OSG's site, and it shows the different sets of battles in the order. So Fleurus, which took place in 1794. I think they have that as like an intro little scenario that you can get, and I didn't get it, but I'm thinking maybe I will, just to be the completionist. But I'll have to play that out of order if I do get it. So I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that. Apologize if my voice sounds pretty bad, and if I'm constantly clearing my throat, or if I get into a coughing fit. I've had influenza type A for a while this week, and I'm in the recovery step up curve now. But I have felt like doggy doo doo, kitty doo doo, all the doo doos over the past week. So I've been wanting to get to this. Kind of had done some prep last week to try to give a little historical situation of things. I may try to do that again on what I remember, but it's not as it's been fevered out, a lot of it, but we'll see what I can do. So anyways, this is from Bonaparte Overruns Piedmont, and I should mention, so on this sheet, this is not the order that the games came out. There might be there's some sets of battles on here that haven't come out yet, so they don't come out in the order of the battles. So if I act quick enough and really start getting through these, I could even come to one that's not out yet. But I don't think I play that fast. But man, that'd be pretty awesome if I really got barnstorming on this. I was a little hesitant to start this because I know somewhere out there in the shiposphere is the that lock and load game on Vimero and Rolissa that is coming, and I wanted to get into that right away, and then I was a little worried putting this on the table if I might tempt fate on that, but I don't know. We'll see if we can get through this in time. Drinking some tea today out of my Red Wings mug. This is green matcha and with turmeric. That turmeric gives it a nice little bite, and overall it's nice on my throat. All right, so where to begin? So I guess first of all, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm a little bit disorganized. So you can, I guess the big thing to know is OSG's site is napoleongames.com. So the big thing is to go, you know what, do I have something blocking my camera? I guess that's just the way it is. I don't know if I've noticed that before. Hold on. Nope, it's just me. It's always been that way, and I'm just questioning things. Uh-oh, maybe my fever's coming back. But anyways, you can always go download the rules from there. The latest is 7.37. I had printed this out. Well, I didn't, but I had gotten gotten it spiral bound print, printed at the local office store quite a while ago, and it was 735. So I went through the 736 and to 737, made the changes in here to make sure I didn't miss anything. They now have a nice expanded glossary and index that I printed out separately. But that's kind of the start for me. Make sure I got the latest edition of the rules and updated. Perhaps the next edition, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and have it printed again. So then the next thing is go to that site again. And so this is what's called the study folder. It gives all kinds of information about the battles, and it shows your scenarios. You've got discussion of the campaigns and stuff. Very very valuable and interesting. Reading all about that from Zucker. And but this one did have some errata. There was you could download it, an updated version of it. The only thing that I think that I saw, I'm gonna have to just do it like this. The only thing I think that I really saw that had been updated is there are rules for roadblocks in here, and there was some extra stuff about defending a roadblock, which so also on the site there was, so one of these, I think this one was already in the box, when this arrived. And then on the site there was two more of these, and they there's a lot of duplicate information on here, so I'm not sure why there's multiple ones on the site. I mean, they have some differences, but I think anyways, back to the roadblocks. I think the biggest thing was this here, as far as what to consider roadblock initiative if it turns to shock and such, little things like that. But so I didn't go down, or I have it downloaded, but I didn't reprint the study folder because I think for the most part it's intact and no changes. But got the errata, went through, and any updates I made off that, making sure that I know what I got. And for my specific scenario, making sure that I have those updates that I know in the book. So and then here's something for the turn track, which I don't know if, I kind of did a little marking of the turn track. So like one of the errata is that at the start of the Montenotte scenario, it originally said each player has a march order, but only the French have one. So basically the next thing that I do, go through the study folder for any specifics that you need to remember. One thing that's interesting in this is the coalition armies and their commanders they can't cooperate. So, and that's because, excuse me, the Austrians were very leery of the Piedmontese at this point, because they were getting reports that they might leave the war, because the Piedmont was getting very war weary, and they were like in their part of Italy, I think they were a big deal, but I mean they weren't on a scale as like Austria or France, the big powers of Europe. So they can't cooperate. They can't stack together. They can't combine for an attack. If units from both armies are adjacent to a single French stack, only one of them can be subject to 1031. What's 1031? Excuse me while the porridge is made. I know I looked this up previously, and that was pre-flu. Oh, all engaged units must attack. So I guess you can only have one of the stack attack. I'm guessing that if a French is stacked next to both of them, the French still have to attack both. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of some command issues there for the coalition. The Advanced Guard Corps is the only actual French corps in the game. All other formations are divisions. I don't know if there's any. Was there anything? There was something I wanted to note. 25, 73, no. I mean, it's good information here to read through. So then, there's some Piedmont specific rules for this edition. We don't have to worry about, my night combat at twilight, but I'll get more into that if it happens. Baggage trains. Yeah. All formations must recover. And so this is interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm interpreting it correctly. All formations must recover any units awaiting reorganization before their baggage trains move farther away from the current friendly supply source. Otherwise, if the formation's trunk line is increased, roll for each unit of the formation still on the reorganization display. On a die roll of 5 or 6, move the unit to permanently eliminated. All units that are out of supply or lack of baggage train upon reorganization must also roll as above. So what's that? So let me grab a baggage train. I don't want to move things. Let's say this is a baggage train. Put it over here. So, and let's say it's a French baggage train, and here's a French supply source. So its trunk line, it has to trace from the baggage train through roads back to the supply source. Then it's able to give supply out to units within 14 hexes. So if I'm understanding this right, if we've had some units that have been eliminated and they're on our, so if you see back here, there's eliminated, reduced, and recovered. And then there's the permanently eliminated. So if we've got people, let's see, roll for each. Any units awaiting reorganization. So I would say in here. So if there's units in there and you want to move your baggage train farther away from your supply source, you're going to risk them dying. So that's pretty harsh. I do know supply was pretty tight in this campaign, I think, really. So okay, that makes sense. Ford hex sides, which are these little splashes along rivers. Only the coalition know about them, unless the French see a coalition use it, or there's a special card. And I do plan to play with the cards. And then the rest of these won't even come up in. We're not at Mondovi, and we're not on the map that has the dragon's teeth. So optional rules. I am going to use these. I think some of these came out of like the Thursday Night Gamers YouTube channel, which is really good. They haven't posted anything for quite a while for Library of Napoleonic Battles, but they've got a ton of videos out there. So artillery is wheeled units. I am going to use this one. So artillery will be treated like trains. Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Where was I? So yeah, so artillery, they're going to be treated like trains, moving at cavalry cost. They can't enter slope hexes or cross on bridges or rivers except with a bridge or on a road or a trail or whatever. I like that. I like that. Adds a little more restriction, makes it more realistic. Except for this is going to be tough probably for me to remember. All the Army's first, second, and third batteries, they had sledges so they can move like infantry and aren't limited to using roads and trails. So, got to remember that. Let's see, and I am going to use. I'm going to use this house rule. I know my nephew did not want to use it last time because anything he feels might help me, he doesn't want used. So if an officer fails an initiative check but is within 2 or 3 hexes of an enemy unit, they'll still be able to move one. So I don't know. I like that. Roadblocks, yeah, I'm going to use those. And then there's a whole discussion on the victory conditions. Usually you get points. There's spots on the map with, if you can see right here, that's worth 3 points, Montenotte Superiore. So you get points for places on the map. You get points for enemy combat, SPs eliminated. If you can demoralize enemy formations, capture baggage trains, I think you get capture of commanders. One thing I always find funny is if you have a leader in a village or a town or a chateau overnight, you get a half victory point for that. So I love that. And then at the end of the game, you'll compare how many points each side has. I think you compare it French to coalition, and if it's above 1, then the French win. If it's below, then the coalition wins, and it's based on then how much. And then cards end up coming into that for the victory points. So I'm going to be playing 27.0 here, the Battle of Montenotte. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I should just read this to you. On April 10th of April, the left wing of the Austrian army under Belleau, pronunciations. I did have my pronunciations even knowing, or myself knowing them. I had re-listened to great podcast, The Age of Napoleon. He starts at like the beginning and comes forward. I had just recently listened to the episode on the Battle of Aspern-Essling. Really good. But I had gone back to these battles and was really going to try to remember the pronunciation. But I think it's Belleau. Moved southward against Cervoni's advanced brigade at Voltri on the Ligurian coast. This wing was isolated by mountains from the right wing under Argento, moving through Montenotte in parallel to his chief. At dawn on 12th of April, French cannon began firing from Monte Negino on the advancing Austrians. Argento deployed Stain and Pellegrini to hold the center and assigned 2 more battalions to defend the left front flank at Monteprat. Then he took the Alvinzi IR to rescue the 3rd Terzi on his right. La Harpe fell on the Austrians, stoutly defending Monteprat, while Massena's assault made such rapid progress that Argento ordered a retreat, and the 3rd Terze battalion was nearly destroyed. The Alvinzi battalion provided the rear guard, losing its color and many soldiers. Argento's men barely cleared Montenotte Inferiore before Massena and La Harpe arrived. By 9:30 a.m., the battle was over. The Austrians, who went into action with 9,300 men, lost 2,500 killed, wounded, and captured, and 12 guns. Most of the Austrian casualties were prisoners caught up in the pursuit. The French lost 880 out of 10,000 available troops. So that's the history. We will we'll see what we can do. Some historical notes from what I remember from my study that I found interesting. So Bilyeu was he had left the area headed toward the coast because he thought the main thrust was coming that way because there had been some subterfuge by the French high whatever council or whatever had requested permission to what was it to pass through, was it Lombardy? I can't remember. There was oh gosh, that hold on, I gotta find that. Anyway, the French had like requested permission. Oh yeah, so the French minister to the Genoese Republic presented a request for a permit for French troops to pass through Genoa and the Bruschetta Pass in order to invade Lombardy. And the Senate, greatly perturbed, applied to General Bülow for protection. So he went for the cheese and he left to go there, leaving Argento, who is right here, to come down here. And he wanted, these, here's Monte Negino and Monte Superiore, which are the victory point hexes over here. So that's what he wants to get. And then over, if we would connect this map over, Colli, who I believe was actually an Austrian, but the Piedmontese had requested someone to lead their armies. So the Austrians sent him Colli. And so he's got another army that's off that side of the board over here. And in the campaign game, there's two more maps that's set up over here. And I think Colli's on the middle one. And so as the coalition player, you can decide, like, do I rush him over here onto this map to fight what's going on over here? But then, there are going to be French coming in, further down eventually. So it sounds pretty interesting, the campaign game. I was tempted to do it, but then I was like, I don't have enough table space. So that ixnayed that. So I've kind of jumped the gun here. I kind of went from prep to beyond that. So we're going to play the approach to battle. So we're going to be starting April 11th at 7 a.m. Whereas if we were just going to do the day of battle, it would be April 12th at 7 a.m. So, and again, sorry for the light always casting a shadow when I'm from that side. So the situation is, the French, they've got very little on board, just these two units. Each side gets two roadblocks that's set up, and that's the roadblocks for the game for the French. The coalition can build three more, and they can build, I think, overnight. You do that, and it's within two hexes. So I kind of figured that was also here. So for the French, I kind of put up a roadblock here to kind of make that trail a little more expensive, and then here for up there. And the way I believe these work is they're basically like one SP units, and they would have to be destroyed in order for the opposing side to pass through them. I don't think either side can pass through them once they're set up. The French could like enter from behind to help like fortify that spot, but they couldn't come from the opposite way either. So kind of the initial plan what I have for the French is Pigeon here is going to be tasked with going and claiming and then holding Montenotte Superiore. And then that initial march order, I'm probably going to give to Rampone to get over there and claim Monteneggino. And then that'll give them, they'll have those 5 victory points that they hope to hold. I mean, Rampone is a pretty good initiative unit, so he probably won't even need the march order to get there, but the sooner he gets there, the better. And up here, Argento and his troops, they're going to be trying to make their way down here, but his initiative's 3, and they don't have any march order to help them just stay in command marching down. So he could, it's unknown how soon he'll be able to get down there. There's some, these improved positions. There's some up here by Dago. Dago is another spot that has victory point hex. So they already have it since they're in it. So Argento has some more Austrian units in here, and then there's also a couple Piedmontese, and so not real sure, what we want to do with them as the Austrians yet. They could come over to help Argento, but then that leaves, eventually Napoleon's going to appear down here. Also, Massena is going to be showing up at some point. As you can see on here. Oh, yeah, I didn't even get to the setup sheets. But, yeah, so, and then there's also the Piedmontese have Provera over here, which I think was actually, he's Piedmontese, but I think Provera was an Austrian also. And then there's a couple units here, and then they've got a wagon train. And there is no supply source for the Piedmontese on this map. So I looked on the next map, and it's like down here. So I'm kind of figuring that I'm going to require like the trunk line of the Piedmontese wagon to go from there. These guys, so right now, and supply is going to be a problem. So the guy up here is 14 hexes from this, so they're in supply, but these guys aren't. So I think I have to pull Provera up, and this guy is just going to be out of supply, I think. Unless Provera can get moved over enough, and this guy gets moved over, and then we can have the wagon down and keep everybody in supply. But I don't know. It'll be interesting, and I'm not sure what exactly to do with the Piedmontese. If I try to rush them or use them on the defense, these guys weren't even they're not even on the approach to battle chart, or not the approach to battle. They're not on the day of battle chart. So I don't know what happened to them from between now and then. But I guess we'll use them since we got them. So I mean that's kind of the overview of the battle. Let's get back to the prep stuff. So French supply problems. The French advance guard and 1st Division must trace supply to either French supply source until their baggage trains arrive. And the French supply sources are over here. And that's long more than 14 hexes. So these guys are going to be out of supply before too long. Everybody starts the game in supply, and then supply is checked on the weather turns. So after we check weather at the beginning of the game, and then that next weather turn, they're going to be out of supply. So they're going to, until Massena shows up, and that's like early in the morning, they're going to be out of supply. So it's going to be fun. So let's get back to the prep. There's a what if that I'm not going to use because that just seems like the French would have no chance then. So I think that's that. So then cards. This is an interesting aspect of the game that you can use, or you don't have to. It's optional. So there's a whole little folder then for if you want to use cards, and it explains how they work. So you go through that, get familiar. I don't like. I thought these were. I think they should be the same rules wise for every game, but which makes me think there was something I did wrong in the last time I used cards. Because in here, like if you use it, I always wondered, like, man, if you use a tactics card for the tactics ability, then you've shortchanged yourself and you've got less cards selection. But here it's like you draw back to your hand size, and I think I missed that in the other game that I played using cards. So this helped me now learn that, hey, read a little better, dummy. So then for each scenario, it tells you what card and how many to remove from the deck for each side. Here's for the French, here's for the coalition. So I've done that already. So I've got these decks cards ready to go. And this all I should point out, this also includes mode cards, which we will get to mode cards. And then so certain cards from within that deck are considered fog of war cards, and then you, depending on whether you're playing French or coalition, you'll come here to see what that certain card does. So you do that with the cards, you get them all shuffled up, and there's that. And then you also, as part of that, you take out the mode cards separate from the normal cards. So the mode cards are used on the very first turn of the game, and you can see because they're mode card, so they're easy to find and distinguish. But just make sure you get those out before you start taking things out and shuffling them up. A lot of tables and stuff are given. So here's the weather table. You've got, for the different battles, what the rolls are. There's some modifiers over here, and then the weather effects. I don't know where I found these, but I got some cards. Here's the table again, and then you've got some nice little cards you can have out depending on what weather you've rolled up. I can't remember whether these were on the OSG site or if it was Board Game Geek, but that's another option. You got your turn record track, which also shows you when there's reinforcements coming in. Since we're doing the approach to battle, we're going to go through this whole day, and then we've got another day that we will do, and then another day, but it should go pretty quick. I like this. I like these early ones because there's not a whole lot of counters, and I think it's going to go quick. Then we've got our recovery boxes for units that get destroyed on map and have a chance of coming back. Our casualty record tracks, and I've got markers. And I've got markers for the different formations to keep track of. And then let's see, I wanted to show, what did I do with it? Hold on, let me set you right here, and let me take a look. I had, oh man, did I put them back in the box? I did. All right, let me get these out. All right, so one thing, so for what comes with the game is these setup charts, and I'm not a fan of this tripod anymore. It just seems painful. All right, so what comes in the game, you can see. So here's Montenotte, the approach to battle, Montenotte, the day of battle. And if you go down here, you can see the different units and if they're listed, where they are, or if they show up as a reinforcement. Dash means they aren't present at all. And you can go down and see that. And it's not bad. I was always a little intimidated by it. But, you know, once I really looked at it, it's not that hard to figure out. And plus, I mean, it's really got a whole bunch of, you know, extra information about things. Like here, Pigeon was sick on April 6th. You know, all kinds of little bit of extra information if you want. And, you know, tells you, you know, good information about what the counter is in case you have trouble finding it and such. So that was, you know, out of the box, this is how you set it up. Plus, there's also one thing that there was errata on here too, I think, for some of the setup spaces. So you'd have to keep track of that. I don't use these because I find it so much nicer to go to OSG's site and download and then print out these sheets. And I don't know, call me stickler for the old, you know, the old ASL setup sheets and stuff, and back to Squad Leader. You know, I don't know, just something about, you know, finding that counter and putting them on there, and then you've got them. You know, you've got the right counter, and there away you go. And it's awesome, and they update them with the errata, so you know what you've got is what you've got. So there's, for this battle, like sometimes they'll be one separate for the French, one separate for the coalition. This has them together. So this was right here was the initial for the French. You know, it shows the army wagon is optional, or the supply wagon, but it doesn't come in until Messina comes in. I know there's a rule where if any part of the formation sets up on map, it's your choice, but considering how it says the supply issues and such are so bad, that definitely is not coming in until Messina comes in. So there's that, and then here's some further out reinforcements and alternate reinforcements. If we get cards that bring those in, then we'll bother hunting them down. So these are awesome. And like I said, you can set them up the other way, but I just prefer to use those. Got some little sheets for your march orders. So, you know, like I said, we'll probably have Rampon have an initial march order to head to Montenegino. And you're supposed to, you know, when you write march orders, you're supposed to put, you know, like a feature, you know, like, you know, Montenegino is legal. You know, if you wanted to go to Ferrania, you know, that, or, you know, maybe, I don't know, if you want to get fancy, the bridge on the south side of Ferrano, I don't know. You know, you just can't say a certain hex. You gotta, excuse me, you gotta kind of have a landmark in order to go by. Kind of similar, I don't know if you're familiar at all to like the line of battle or the Civil War Brigade series where you write orders. It's like, I mean, I think, I don't know, in some instances it's okay to use a hex as a signifier, but it's better, you know, to have a certain landmark as denoted for whatever you're trying to explain. I mean, back when these orders were written, you know, they didn't have hex numbers. So I'm trying to think if is that as far as I've wanted to take it. I think I kind of touched on things. So this is Bonaparte's first, big campaign when he was in charge. Toulon, I think he was just head of the artillery and had the plan that they used. He also, I know 2 years before this, so I think this is what, 1796? Yeah, where does it say? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's on the box. 1796. Back in 1794, there was a whole nother campaign where the French used a plan that Napoleon had come up with from there was some old book on mountain warfare that he had found in his library, in the libraries from his study or back in school, and he had, I don't know, sent this plan to somebody in charge or whatever, and they ended up using it to use kind of like a mobile warfare, splitting forces to confuse the enemy and have them thinking the main attack was coming from one way, and then it came another, and it was successful. Massena, who will show up here later, he was part of that. Napoleon wasn't. So this was his first real, situation of being in command, in charge, especially at the army level. And he came upon a army that was a little bit, pretty disarrayed. They hadn't been paid in quite a while. Supplies were low, morale was low, and that's the situation he took charge of. And he wanted to have more time to try to get the army back in shape before he took off, but the situation changed and he had to kick off the campaign a little bit sooner than he wanted to. I think beforehand he actually, if I'm correct, I think he actually used like some line of credit to try to outfit the soldiers, shoes and maybe some guns and stuff that they didn't have before the campaign started. And I know, army commanders weren't supposed to do that because they didn't want the army to start taking more loyalty to the commander than to the state, and stuff like that. And again, I'm probably getting this all wrong. I should have probably re-listened again, but I've just been chomping at the bit to get going on this, and I wanted to do kind of a prep video in case it would be helpful to anybody and such. So we will get going next time. We'll go over the mode cards and what they do and how we pick what ones we're going to have to do, and we'll get started. So I'll try to patch this all together and upload it, and hopefully somebody gets some use out of it, and I'm going to get at it because I have been excited. So thanks a lot. Later.